Hello there guys, Fengferth here, and welcome to Tea and Crumpets with me. Now, I originally started doing this series on my old channel, and for those of you who don't know, it's basically me talking about random gaming shit. Yes, random gaming shit. And I want to continue carrying it on because a lot of you actually watch it and enjoy listening to me ramble on about shit. I don't know why, but there you go. So, actually I wanted to talk about Modern Warfare 3, Call of Duty, and possibly the Call of Duty community as a whole as well. So, I've actually got some video footage. As you can see, I'm running the LLMG in this one. I'm running the LSW, a cracking machine gun. Not many people use the machine guns on Modern Warfare 3, and it's not surprising why, but yeah, I still find them really fun. And the one thing that I was really amazed about, because I haven't really played any of the CoDs for a long while, since probably around about February. Sometimes I come on now and again, once in a blue moon, and I had a really good bash yesterday, and I was pleasantly surprised and also slightly disappointed. Now, I was really surprised mainly because I don't know if I was just really lucky, but there didn't seem to be that many campers, and that is quite surprising really, because back in February and ever since then, I've basically been in lobbies but with nothing but camping, corner campers. More importantly, I mean, camping as a whole, I mean, it's a legit strategy or tactic. It's one that's looked down upon, frowned upon, but you know, people do it, and you know, you can't blame them not for doing it. And I was actually slightly disappointed in that it still seems rather laggy. I don't know if it's anything to do with the lag compensation, still overcompensating or whatnot, but there was many times in many games yesterday that I was really disappointed in how many hit markers I was getting, especially with the LMGs. Now, LMGs, especially in Modern Warfare 3, they took a bit of a hit, because in the other CoDs in the series, the LMG didn't have damage drop-off, which was pretty neat. But in Modern Warfare 3, all of them did have a damage drop-off, and it did weaken them at long range quite considerably. And that is probably where the strengths are in LMGs, providing mid to long range support. I mean, you can rush with them to an extent if you've got the right perks, but it's still not ideal. And yeah, it really knocked them down. But there was a patch that did buff this, and I think it now takes 3 to 4 bullets to kill anyone at range, which is a neat buff, but it's them still pretty weak in general, and not many people use them. But anyway, I didn't really want to talk about the LMGs or the other weapons yet. I want to talk about the camping aspects of it. Now, camping has been happening since God knows when. It mainly erupted in my opinion, Black Ops. There are quite a few reasons why it started erupting this pace. One of the main reasons was possibly the removal of stopping power, which meant that people would run Ghost. Now, Ghost on its own is a pretty nice perk. I've been using the equivalents of Ghost since, oh my god, since when I first started. I mean, I first started as a sniper, or as a lot of people say, hard scoper, and I was pretty good at it. And basically the equivalent of Ghost, which is UAV jammer on Modern Warfare 1, gave me a distinct advantage over many people, because a lot of people didn't run UAV jammer, and they was too busy chasing dots on the minimap. This gave me a cracking advantage, especially with using the semi-auto sniper rifles, because that meant that I wasn't at a disadvantage from not using stopping power. The problem I felt with Ghost and its equivalents, is because stopping power was removed in both Black Ops and Modern Warfare 3, was that there wasn't really another perk that was in Ghost's league, so to speak. At the end of the day, you know, there are a few good perks in that particular branch, but Ghost just gives you a lot of utility and stealth, which is what a lot of the pro players seem to be using a hell of a lot. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know, but it certainly promoted more camping, because people couldn't actually red dot chase, so they kind of think, oh well, they could be probably using Ghost, we best go out somewhere and try and catch them off guard. And that's basically what started to happen. I mean, it's still I noticed in Black Ops it still happens an awful lot, and you know, it's a bit of annoyance. I don't think the actual perk itself is actually overpowered, because, and this is another thing I do want to try and go into, but the UAV is the most common kill streak in the game, hands down, and you'd need a hard counter for it. And I mean, although you can take it down with launchers, some kits just can't utilise launchers. They need the secondary, especially if they're snipers and whatnot. So what better way to do it than have a perk? Now, arguably, Modern Warfare 3's equivalent of Ghost is a little bit, gives a little bit too much, in my opinion, for what it does. Now, although it was split up from Black Ops into Modern Warfare, it was split up into Blind Eye and Assassin, I still think Assassin gives way more utility, because now you can't actually be, if you got the Pro version, you can't be stopped by counter UAV or EMP. And although you don't really see that many EMPs, you still see an awful lot of counter UAVs, and it's the perk of choice for people that still chase dots. And that's the problem as well. I mean, it's not just a perk for people that chase dots. It's a perk for people that want to corner camp, because obviously people don't know they're going to be there because they can't see them, either in UAV or anything else. The only way you can use utility is if they run an unsilenced weapon. So that's kind of my take on the whole affair. I don't think it's overpowered as such, but the other perks even need to be a little bit more buffed, in my opinion. Either that, or maybe get rid of some of the perks of using it. I mean, you really should only be unseeable via UAV. Shouldn't have all these counters to counter UAV and whatnot as well. Although don't get me wrong, it is quite a nice change. If you do come across a team that run just counter UAVs and whatnot, which seems to be happening an awful lot recently as well. By the look of it, I was in quite a few games where I'm pretty sure the whole team was bloody running counter UAVs, because it was constantly up. And I think, you know, that was another reason why they did it. I mean, counter UAV is probably the second most common kill streak, because it only requires you to get 4 and 4 point streak, and you know, it's another counter to it. But the problem is it's in the same perk. I think that's where the problem is. It's in exactly the same perk. That's the reason why it took more. Now, arguably in Modern Warfare 3, they did try and balance this out by making things like Quick Draw into it. Now, Quick Draw is quite a common red perk as well. What else can I think of? Hardline, I suppose that took a little bit. Not as much as it used to, but it still took. I really can't remember the other red perks, in all honesty, not off the top of my head, which is kind of bad. Does that mean them any good? Does that mean them worth remembering? And this brings me really nicely into the UAV. Now, the UAV, as you see me just use there, has been around since bloody God knows when. It was definitely in Modern Warfare 1 and since then. And same with the Assassin and its equivalents. And you know, it's only really been starting to be noticed that this particular kill streak is a problem, especially in the metagame at the moment. The problem with UAV is that people think when they get 3 kills that they're entitled to see where the old team is, and this obviously poses a problem. This is another reason why people think that Assassin is overpowered, because they want to see where they are with the UAV that they've just got by acquiring 3 kills, or 4-point streak if they're using the support package. So, to be quite honest, I personally think it's really overused. It really is overused. Now, obviously, you had no choice in the matter on Modern Warfare and World at War, because you didn't have a choice of kill streaks. You had to use the UAV on both of those games, and I think that's where UAV jammer and all that wasn't very popular, because people were either running Juggernaut or Stopping Power, because obviously Juggernaut was a counter to Stopping Power and Stopping Power was a counter to Juggernaut. Nobody in their right mind would ever think to use UAV jammer, unless of course you're like me and realise the potential of it, and that it stopped people from red dot chasing you, especially if you're running a science weapon. But then again, running a science weapon in that kind of metagame where people were using Juggernaut did put you at a slight disadvantage, unless of course, as I said earlier on, that you was using a weapon that didn't really have to rely on Stopping Power. And it's only really been noticed obviously in Black Ops, where Stopping Power was completely removed. So really, it's not the perk itself that's to blame, it's also the UAV as well, especially now in Modern Warfare 3, because it's much easier to get. In fact, people start running a support with hardline and UAV. Now all they got to do is get 3 points. It doesn't matter if they die or not, they can just get a 3-point streak and they've got a UAV right there. And some people even combine that with counter UAV. And this is where you get all the UAV and counter UAV spam. And, you know, unfortunately, Modern Warfare 3 promotes this. And that's the reason why a lot more people take Assassin. So, you know, it's not the perk itself, it's the actual kill streaks. I mean, obviously they were now moaning about it in the other games, other than obviously Black Ops and Modern Warfare 3, because there was basically Juggernaut and Stopping Power infestation, and that was it. So yeah, that's my little take on that. That's probably the main reason why there's a lot more camping. There are a few other reasons as well. The one thing I can think of is montages have been a really big thing since Black Ops. I mean, I know there was done in other Call of Duties, but you see a lot more of them Black Ops and Modern Warfare 3. And if you look at some of the, especially the MOABs, the Mother of All Bomb videos, you'll see that most of the time they're just camping in one spot. And more importantly, they're not playing Team Deathmatch. They're playing an objective-based game, which means it forces the opponents to go where they are camping. Normally, domination, or the worst one of the lot, which was ironically supposed to stop camping, kill confirmed. Now, obviously, people dive bomb to them bloody tags because they get more points. And I can guarantee you, at least 80% of the MOAB videos are on kill confirmed. Easily. It's not a team-based game. Well, it's supposed to be a team-based game. It's supposed to promote less camping, but it does the exact opposite. And that's the problem. So yeah, moving on. as you may have actually noticed in this particular video, and in probably my next one that I'll show you, if it's in the right order, I hope it is. Actually, got around with the pistols. Now, I am a pistol lover. I absolutely love them. I prefer them in the Battlefield series because they are a bit more powerful and a bit more easy to handle. But nonetheless, I really like them on the CoD series as well. Now, there was a lot of debate, especially on Modern Warfare 3, about having machine pistols as secondaries, along with normal pistols. Now, the main problem I find with doing this is that I don't really like the idea of having machine pistols as secondaries, or at least if they are secondaries, there should be a downside to using them. So at the moment, we've got machine pistols that are automatic, and they come with quite a decent amount of bullets, and there's only really one of them that's actually crap, and that's probably the G18. I mean, the accuracy on that is absolutely horrible, and the recoil, but the others are pretty damn solid, and more importantly, they can be akimboed, and that poses a massive problem, especially considering how accurate they are, and especially when you've got steady aim on. They're beasts. They are absolute beasts. Some people are running them as primaries, for fuck's sake. You know, they shouldn't be able to do that. And well, I was actually searching the forums, and a couple of people were asking how many are actually using normal pistols. Now, I naturally, being a pistol lover, actually joined in on this topic, and I said that I prefer pistols. And somebody had basically said to me, why would you use pistols when you could just use machine pistols, because you don't really get much of an advantage with using pistols. Now, I tend to disagree here, because the one thing that pistols have, perhaps the only thing that pistols have against machine pistols, is the pull-out time. I personally think the pull-out time, because of it being near enough instantaneous, is more of an advantage than having something automatic. Obviously, because I'm used to semi-autos. In fact, I tend to only go for semi-autos if I can. It's not very often I use automatics now, unless it's something like a LMG or anything like that, or if I'm forced to use an automatic. But yeah, and it just takes time to get used to using pistols. I mean, they are quite hard guns to get used to, especially if you're one of these people that are so used to machine pistols and automatic stuff, you know. But I think there's more of an advantage of using them than that. Obviously, the only thing is the ammo count is quite low, and some of the pistols don't really start off with that much ammo, which is really surprising considering how much the machine pistols start off with. I think that I don't know if it's intended or whether it's a bug, especially with the Desert Eagle. If I remember right, that comes with only 2 clips, which is a bit crap. But one thing to note as well is that pistols can actually be dual wielding as well. And if you're dual wielding one of the magnums, you can actually get a kind of a one-hit kill with them at close range if both of your bullets from each of your guns connect. And while it is quite fun to do that, that's pretty cool. That is absolutely cracking. You can't really do that with the akimbo machine pistols. And you know, whenever I use machine pistols, I feel cheap using them. I feel like they're very cheap. Now, in this video, you'll actually see me use the machine pistols, because they do complement the shotgun very nicely. Yeah. Shotguns, I like them. Don't get me wrong, I do like them. I've been a shotgunner for quite some time, but the problem is, on some of the games, they seem underpowered. I mean, some of them are great. I mean, I like the USAS. The USAS is quite a nice shotgun. After it's been buffed, of course. It was absolutely terrible before it got the buff. But yeah, I've just not been that much of a fan of them. Mainly because most people tend to engage in more longer firefights, And to be quite honest, you're better off using akimbo machine pistols than the shotguns, which is a bit unfortunate. You know, when you've got to have balanced sorta, when it's more efficient to use akimbo machine pistols than a primary shotgun. So yeah, that's my take on it. I really think, I don't think pistols should get a buff as such, but I think machine pistols should get a bit more of a nerf than what they have got already. I mean, it seems to me that every time they nerf the akimbo machine pistols, they buff them. That's the problem. I mean, the last one they did, they decreased the fire rates of the FMG akimbo, but the problem was they made them more effective because now they lose a lot of recoil, which is rather dumb, so to speak. Yeah. You know, it might seem that I'm going nerf this, nerf that, nerf this, nerf that, but in reality, I actually don't really care that much. I prefer a challenge, you know. If it's harder for me to use pistols, I'll use the damn pistols. If it's harder for me to use I'll use the damn shotguns. You know, even the LMGs, which are arguably the LMGs are one of the worst weapons. You know, I'll use bloody them. You know, I like a challenge. I like it to be fun. A challenge is fun. But right then, moving on. How many of you are going to buy Black Ops 2? Now bear this in mind, okay? Black Ops 2 is rumoured to have the same engine as Black Ops 1. Now, I don't know if this is true, obviously it's all rumour. I actually don't care whether it is true or not, but I can guarantee you one thing, I'm actually definitely not getting it. For one simple reason only. The one thing that frustrates me on this game more than anything is not the overpowered perks, not the underpowered shotguns, not the underpowered, underpowered, everything. The one thing that is overpowered, that is definitely overpowered, is the lag compensation. Now, there's many videos talking about the lag compensation, and this arguably started in Black Ops. This was where it was more, you could visually see it more. Okay, now obviously every game, online game, has to have some form of lag compensation to make games fair. Now arguably they took that to the extreme on Black Ops. You could easily tell. Now it didn't help on Black Ops that the detection was off. You could tell it was off very easily, and lag compensation didn't help. It made the detection look even worse than it actually was. And you know, the Modern Warfare 3 suffers the same. Now the detection is actually pretty damn good on this, but the trouble lies in its lag compensation. It hasn't got as much, but it's still there and you can still feel it. Now, before I upgraded my internet, I was actually having pretty decent games. Now, I'll tell you what my speed of the connection was, right? My connection speed back in the day, when dinosaurs had lived, it was 5 megabytes download and 1 megabyte upload. It wasn't a lot, okay? And now I've completely upgraded, and it is now 70 megabytes download and 20 megabytes upload. It's a hell of a lot more. My ping has been roughly the same. So I think my ping was around about 28 to London from where I live, which is pretty damn good. And I think it was over in Germany, I was getting around about 40 ping, which is pretty damn good. And was it West Coast America? I think it was West Coast. I was getting around about 96, which is by far pretty damn good. Now, the one thing I did notice yesterday is the lag comp was affecting me a hell of a lot more than it used to. I noticed that people were teleporting, and not only were people teleporting, but I was getting a hell of a lot of hit markers when they should have been dead. So a good example of this is the LMG. Now, as I mentioned earlier on, the LMGs now do is now a 3 to 4 bullet kill at range. Okay, and obviously this isn't taking into account bullet penetration, but I had a few games where I was getting 7 or 8 hit markers on the same person with an LMG, and I still end up dying. That's how bad the lag compensation is getting for me now that I've upgraded my internet. That's rather ironic. Now, the only reason why this is actually in place in the first place is because CoD is still peer-to-peer, which basically means it's house-based, and it's not good. It's not good at all. I mean, I've been playing Battlefield 3 for quite some time now, and you can easily tell the difference between a peer-to-peer game and a dedicated server game. Dedicated servers, you don't feel like you've been ripped off by lag. The only time you feel ripped off is when you've done something absolutely stupid, like I do all the time. But on this, it's really frustrating because you know for a fact that you shot him 16 million times with a shotgun to the head, but you still die. And that is what the problem is. This is also another reason why people were camping a hell of a lot on both Black Ops and Modern Warfare 3, because of this shitty lag compensation. Why the hell would you risk running around like a lunatic trying to kill someone if you're only going to get hit markers? You may as well just camp in one corner, wait for someone to come, and hopefully shoot them in back enough times before they turn around and kill you. That's it to a T. And that is why I am not going to get Black Ops 2, because there's going to be no dedicated servers yet again. You'd think with the amount of money that Activision is making, they would be able to afford some dedicated servers, or even do what Battlefield 3 have done, although I wouldn't actually advise doing it, and actually hire dedicated servers out. The only problem with this is that what Battlefield 3 suffered from with dedicated servers is people that have power, and they can abuse the power to ban people and kick people. And while it's not really a concern as much, because you can just avoid those kind of servers by just, you know, unfavoriting them or even reporting them kind of servers. But the problem is it leaves a really nasty taste in your mouth, just like how the lag compensation does. So it's a double-edged sword, really, how it works. And yeah, I'll prefer dedicated servers, but don't do what Battlefield 3 did and allow them rentable. Actually keep them as their own servers. And I bet you that they would actually, if they made this move, I bet you there would actually be people coming back to the CoD series, because I know a lot of people that are not gonna buy Black Ops 2 just for that alone. You know, let alone any balancing issues that's probably going to come about this. And I'm not too sure about the approach they're coming with Black Ops 2 in like the futuristic kind of style. I mean, you know, kudos to them. They've tried to branch it in other areas that they haven't explored yet. But, you know, is it going to turn people off, or is it going to bring people in? That's the question. And, you know, guys, I'm not a fan of CoD or Battlefield 3. I like them pretty much equally for different reasons. I love Battlefield 3 because not only is it more or less lag free, I can actually enjoy a game, and you know, there's that team aspect of it. But the problem is with Battlefield 3 is if you don't actually have a decent team, then you do get a sour taste in your mouth. And ironically, Modern Warfare is the opposite. Even though it's supposed to be a team games, it's not. You basically run around yourself and you start shooting people, blah 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 blah. You start getting yourself killed, blah 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 blah. You know, it's the exact opposite of Battlefield 3, and that's why I like the contrast in both. That's why I like playing both. Now, I'm definitely going to be getting the next Battlefield installment, because I know for fact it'll have dedicated servers. But there's no way I'm getting Black Ops 2 until either, well, one, they have dedicated servers, or, and this is a big or, two, they do something about the lag compensation, because at the moment, the lag compensation in both Black Ops and Modern Warfare 3 is absolutely horrendous. absolutely horrendous. There can be some games where you're God, and that's another thing. I hate it when I get that, because it means I've got a massive unfair advantage. Are you going to abuse it? Of course you are going to abuse it. Why wouldn't you? But that's the thing. You shouldn't have to do that to actually, to actually stand a chance. You shouldn't do that at all. And this is another reason why P2P is so crap, because people recognise this now. People realise when they're on the bad side of the lag, which is basically what it's called now, the bad side of the lag, and they'll just exit. And that means the lobby is then starting to empty out. And that means either people are joining halfway through a game, or they're joining at the end of the game, or they're joining to a game where they think, oh, fucking hell, this is absolutely fucking laggy, and then bugger off again anyway, and it leaves. It's basically just not that great at all. Why would people want to play on an empty game for? Especially when the host is. Well, this is the thing as well. It's not necessarily the host that's got the advantage. That's how this lag compensation kind of works. It's the host that usually gets a disadvantage, because they bring everyone else in that particular lobby down to his level, or well, up to his level, I should say, or they drag him down, and it puts people off hosting. And if it's doing that, people are just going to leave. In the worst case scenario, they're going to keep dashboarding. And you know what happens when people dashboard, don't you? Yeah, you get host migration for about 10 minutes, and then the game ends abruptly. You don't want that to happen, do you? I mean, yeah, okay, it's a casual gamer. It's expected nowadays for people to do that. But the fact of the matter is, it shouldn't happen in the first place. It's putting a lot of people off. A lot of people. Including myself. And, CoD was the first person shooter I ever played. And I still enjoy it. But nowhere near as much as I used to. Nowhere near as much. I have no idea what I was doing there. I think I'd let him have the kill. I don't know why. Bit odd. Right then, guys. I think I'm going to leave it there. I hope you've enjoyed my ramblings, as well as my absolutely pathetic gameplay. Do I care that I've put really bad gameplay on? Not particularly. No. Not at all. Do you want to shave a Moab next time? Of course not. Because I don't do that sort of thing. I don't play like a bitch, as one might say. I play to have fun. And that's what I shall do. So, yeah. Drop a like if you've enjoyed it, and maybe tell me your thoughts on everything I've talked about. And maybe I'll see you for the next one, eh? I'll see you next time, guys.